Welcome, everyone. My name's Jeff St Laurent. In just a minute, I'm going to bring on one of my great mentor coaching clients, but I'm going to leave her in the bullpen for a second. She's warming up, getting ready. I just want to do my quick little intro here to let you all know of how I help coaches transition to a full-time business. I record all of my live shows. I put them on my website, sellingcoaching.com, in my university. So check that out. Like I said, I help coaches transition to a full-time business, and we're going to hear kind of how some of that works live today. But right on the homepage, one of my greatest resources to get you started off, if you enter your name and email, that's going to give you instant access to my audio recording, and it's launching your full-time coaching business, the first 3 vital steps. So you can go ahead and check that out. I got a lot of great stuff in there. But one of the greatest things I want to talk about today is give a warm welcome to my great mentor coaching client, Donna Star. Welcome.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, so it's fun to be here. And so I'm excited about this because, you know, we've been working together for just over a year now, right?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, so in like we had our last call, and then there was a little space between our last call because you were just freaking hammering it. And you give me all these updates. Like, I love Donna's great because she just, whether we have an active session or not, it's just like, I'm like, how's it going? How's it going? And she gives you these long updates, and I comb through them, and we go back and forth, and we have this like kind of this great little mastermind of like, all right, do this, do that. And so I'm like, last time I'm like, Donna, I got to get you on my show because she's been doing great things over the last year. She's been an awesome student, a great student, and someone who like listens, like, all right, Jeff, tell me what to do. And like, I tell her what to do, and she freaking does the heck out of it. And so I kind of want to like take you guys back to where she started off at to get a feel for, you know, where she's come over the last year. So as coaches are listening to this, you can get a feel for what's possible. So Donna, let's start you off. Like, so rewind a year or so. I never look at the dates. I should do that more when I interview a mentor coaching client, but it's been definitely over a year.
Yeah.
But rewind back to that. And you were talk just briefly about the place you were at in your business and kind of why you're like, I need to work with Jeff. Like, why did that come up?
So, you know, I went to IPEC and I loved the program very much. And Jeff is part of the program in the Quick Start program. And I did the first class and I was like, I'm just going to hire him. Like, he talks as fast as I do, if not faster. And he's from the Northeast. So that helped because I'm also from the Northeast. And I just knew that I wanted to take my business and grow it exponentially. And I knew Jeff could help me get there. I mean, that's really the thing. I had nothing in place other than I wanted to coach. And when you talk about in Quick Start, all the things, all the infrastructure, for lack of a better word, like that you need in place, I was like, I don't have that. I don't have that. Oh my God, I need that. And then I talked to you and I was like, yeah, I'm in. Yeah. I had very little hesitation when I hired you.
Yeah, I remember that. You were like all about it. You're like, let's do this.
Right. I feel like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So what was it like? So when we started off, like, what was it that you felt like you really needed the most help with? Like you said, you didn't have any infrastructure. You kind of didn't have any of the things in place that I was talking about. But where did you feel like you struggled the most, that you needed the most guidance with?
So when you come out of coaching and you're all like, I'll use like level 5, you know, and you're so full of possibility and you're so excited to do your craft, but you realize there's the business side of it. And, you know, you just can't go out and coach every day because that's just not how it works. You know, you can coach every day, but you need tools. And so I think I realized with you, I didn't have a website. And, you know, what I love about you is don't let that stuff get in the way of you moving forward. Don't let that be the excuse for why you're not actually coaching. You can get all that stuff done behind the scenes. So for me, the reason that you sealed the deal with me is like, I can help get you there. And you helped me organize because I was so like, all over the place saying, I want to do this. I want to do that. And you're like, whoa, slow down, you know, sailor, like slow it down, slow your roll. And you kind of walk through program and you have this on your videos, but I needed that one-on-one time with you because this is my life. This is what my life calling is. And I took it really seriously. I know everybody, you know, other people do, but you were like, here's what you do here. I want you in front of your audience. I want you to work on your story. So you gave me like step by step what I needed to do. And that is what I needed because I was all over the place. So you gave me structure.
Yeah, and I remember that structure was huge for you because I know you're like most entrepreneurs, you're not short on ideas,
Yeah,
and you were like,
don't
oh, I
get
want to do
short.
this, do this, and I'm like, well, you'll get there, and it's interesting now that the year's been played out so far, and we're moving forward because I've seen you take the systems and structure that we set you up with, and then I've seen you kind of implement your own ideas once you got your foundational elements kind of situated.
Right.
Talk about maybe some of the things that you feel like in the first 3 to 6 months-ish, some of the foundational elements and structures that you're referring to that you really implemented that you found has helped you, from a foundational standpoint.
Well, our Monday morning spreadsheet was probably one of the biggest things because you're having all these conversations. And I come from a corporate background, so I'm used to structure. But, just keeping track of who I'm talking to. What am I doing to grow my business? Who am I talking to about coaching? How am I networking? Who am I marketing? What's my messaging? I think the spreadsheet really helped me just like crystallize my activity. And I still use it. I color code it. And I know that makes you laugh, but I color code so that was probably the most important thing. I think the website is one of the least important things I think for a coach personally, because especially if you're on social media, but it's credibility, especially in the corporate world. I needed that. So I got that done relatively quickly because one of your references, which was great. So the website, I think the email, which I had so much resistance to, you're like, get in front of your audience. I'm like, I don't have anything to say. And you're like, it's a muscle. Just do it, Donna. Just do it. And now I write religiously. And I would say within 10, I know you would like it to be more often, but I have reliably sent out emails every 2 weeks for the last year and grown my email base. Because as you said to me, social media, you don't know what's going to happen with your social media. They could shut all that off. You need to own the people in your orbit. You need an email marketing system. Did you say something like that to me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I did it. And it was really hard for me in the beginning. And I sent out an email last week about my dad, and it was the highest open rate I've ever had.
Yeah.
So consistency, I think your main message to me, I'm all over the place a little bit because you taught me so much, but consistency was the key. And that spreadsheet I use to this day.
Yeah. And I don't laugh at the color coding thing because that's exactly what I do. Like I'm the same way, color code it. But like I've had a lot of clients utilize a spreadsheet, but you're one where every time we would talk, I like, okay, is that written down? Is that written down? Or like, go back to the spreadsheet, give me your statistics. And you could always go back and talk about your numbers. And that's what I appreciated about you is that, I teach that to everybody that I work with, but you really have taken that on very seriously because you start to understand the metrics of your work.
Right. Like in the beginning, I said, I want to have 10 clients by X date. And you're like, I think you're looking at this the wrong way, is what you said to me. Great that you have a goal, you said, but how are you getting the clients? The how is more important than the number, at least in the beginning. And I'm paraphrasing with you, so let me know if I'm wrong. But you were like, I want to know where you're getting your clients from and be specific. So that's how you're going to know where you want to grow your business from. So if you're getting all these referral business, then you know you need to exponentially grow that part of your business. And so you were like, I come from a corporate mindset. So it's like number, outcome, outcome, outcome. And you were like, you tweaked me almost every call and in between, because a lot of the work with coaching happens in between sessions. You're very supportive. And I think sometimes I would get tripped up, and I think coaches in the beginning get tripped up on how to close or actually going to solution earlier than they have to with a new client. Like you don't have to have all the answers. The client does. But for some reason, I think newer coaches, including me, you base a lot of your self-worth on that outcome right away. I know I'm jumping a little bit away from structure. You really helped me just say, stay here. Like, don't go there. Like, you kept on bringing me back in. Like, why do you have to know that? Like, so you really just you just kept me in my lane.
And that's a good way to say it. is I feel like when you stayed in your lane and you kept your focus, and I would, we meander like we would anyways, but it's just like kind of like just make comments here and there. And I remember you would say stuff and you'd be all, it's almost like you were so excited, like, oh, here's what I did. And I'd be like, no,
Yep,
like,
that's
and I'd be
exactly what
like,
happened.
no,
I did. Oh my God, this person wants to work with me. And you're like, did you qualify them? No.
and it was
Did you give
perfect.
me the free session? No.
And I was like, oh, okay, let's just, and every time you see, you started to do the work and you did the work. And then as you did the work, I would say that's where we would take our learning opportunities from. And that's when I would take the cues to teach you the things you need to learn, because you were doing the things you need to learn them now. And that's where I feel like you thrive the most, is because you were doing the work. And then we had such a great communication. We still do, right? But we had a great communication where you would share with me what you were doing. And then the parts that were great, keep doing those. And the parts that needed tweaking, let's do this and why. And you were great, because I love how, like, there are some things where I would go over something and then I could hear on the other end of the phone, you were like, okay. And you were there, like you listened to me, but like you had to wrap your head around it, or you had some questions
It's
around
true.
it.
The thing that I most appreciated about you, there's so much, is like, there's a lot of noise when you come out of coaching school, right? Whatever school you go to, there's a lot of noise on like 6-figure here. You can do this. I can help you do that. This is the proven system. And it's like, oh my God, it's just so noisy. And for someone like me who's hyper competitive with myself, I needed to shut all that out and just like have a very direct way to build my own business. And you gave me that. And I was able to shut off all the spigots out there, because I don't know if you feel this way, Jeff, but I just feel like there's a lot of noise out there. And I'm not saying it's not all good noise, but it's just too much.
No, yeah, we don't even have to judge good or bad noise. There's too much. And sometimes I see it to my clients too. Like I'll have someone and we're taking them on a process, and then they'll come back and they're like, oh, I signed up for another course, or I'm doing this. And it's not like I'm not saying don't do another course or don't listen to anyone else. I'm the only person to listen to. But it's the fact that they're spreading themselves too thin, and now they're getting different thoughts and they confuse themselves more. And you were great because you stayed focused on what we needed to do as we taught you it.
Right. And I listened to a webinar because, then I joined ICF and whatever. And I was like, well, Jeff, what do I do when I sign a client? And you're like, I gave you the welcome letter. Don't make more out of it than it is. This is all you need. You gave me the one pager. I've tweaked it, for my own clients, but you just kept it really like simple. Like this doesn't have to be, obviously business is a lot of work, but you kept me like, don't go there. Like, stay calm. This is all you need, Donna. Like, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need a folder with all these forms. I think that's what I came to you with. Like, do I need to do a booklet? And you're like, no, send the welcome letter.
Keep it simple. Yep.
Yeah. Keep it simple. And I love that about you. You're very you have a process that works, and you're really open to, well, what about this? And you're like, okay, try it. You and I might not have agreed on, I agreed with 99.9% of what you told me, but for the 0.1%, I was like, and you were like, yeah, do it. Like, this is your business. Do your thing.
Yeah, you have to get to a certain point where we understand the philosophy behind it. Like you said, you send an email every other week for the past year. And I say do one every week, but you tweaked it for what works for you. And the bottom line is you're in front of your audience, you're consistent over time, and you've developed the muscle, and now you're good at it. That's all that matters. So whatever that actually looks like doesn't matter.
Yeah. And you were like, I don't do a border or a logo around it. I just send it out. And I'm like, well, I come from advertising. I'm going to put a logo on it. And you were like, fine. So I love that about you, that we could you gave me the basic, and then I could go left or right or up or down with it. And, now I'm feeling more confident with the writing. I never thought I would feel more confident with the writing part. And now it's like fun.
I'm glad you say that.
Lives, that's still a little work in progress. Jeff is
lives.
The Facebook Lives, I did them in the beginning a lot. I do them with some of the other groups I'm in. It's still one of the hardest things for me to go live. But when I went live with one of the programs that I launched recently, it came from my heart, it was awesome. So I find for me that if I go authentically, then it works. But if I feel like I'm being staged, it's not as good for me, but I still think it's good practice.
Yeah, 100%. Share some of the things now that you've developed, because the programs over the last few months, the female you talked about, and like share some of the, like, because I want people to see like how you've kind of made this now. You've got your base systems, your follow-up, the structures and systems, and then you kind of had your own, like, just go share some of the
Yeah.
programs you've
So, I mean,
created.
obviously I picked up private clients and I keep track of them. And then I said, and Jeff pushed me and said, well, I think you ought to do group coaching. And I agree with that 100%. But I was like, oh, group coaching, I can't do that. And then you were like, I think you should do some speaking engagements, get out there and do that. You have enough corporate contacts. Now that dried up a little bit during COVID. Not that people weren't doing virtual. And then, so one day I was sitting at my desk and I was like, I really want to coach early career women because I think and then I had sort of an emotional moment about it. And then 2 weeks later, I was coaching my daughter and 8 of her friends. And now I made it a formal program called Female. And the letters all stand for something. And then I love it more than anything I've ever done in my entire life. So what I love about coaching is you may not know right away what you're going to do. Just do it. As Jeff will tell you, just do it. And it evolves over time, what you're going to do. And now I'm doing a corporate coaching for more senior level women called Velocity with another IPEC coach. I do a Life is Messy with 3 other IPEC coaches every Tuesday at noon. We moved it to 11 so I could do this. And just a lot of collaboration and a lot of growth. And like, you can do anything you want as a coach or an entrepreneur. You get to choose every day what you want to do. And so building these programs out for me, I just wrote my freebie, which Jeff had me write right when I graduated. You had me do the freebie, but just didn't feel as authentic to me because I didn't know enough about me, to be honest. And the other day I was sitting at my desk and I wrote it in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So, 10 and 100 rewrites, if I'm going to be honest. But the idea came to me quickly. So those are some of the things that I'm doing right now, and I couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you. No,
I really couldn't have.
But the cool part is you've evolved into creating your own brainchild, like with the Velocity and Female, and how you've, like you said, it's you're passionate about it and you're excited about it. But now you have the ability, because you have the business aspect of it, right? The structure of, oh, well, how, if I'm going to create this group program, what do I need to do in order to fill it? How do, what's the business side of it? Tracking the numbers, servicing the clients, the fact that you have, a good schedule of clients right now. Let's, as we start to wrap, a couple of things before we finish up. I want to talk a little bit about results and whatever you're willing to share, because we had a good talk on the last call around some numbers, and I want to share some of that if you're willing to, because so many people are out there and they're like, oh, and it's $100,000 and it's 6-figure this and multiple whatever, and it's just like, yeah, it happens. But like, you've done some great work over the last year and you've created, I feel, some really solid results, which are just going to continue to stack up as you go along. But talk about like some of your numbers and clients, and if you're willing to, income and stuff like that, because those are important.
Yeah. So I would say at any given day, 15 active clients. And, when I say any given day, there's time in between sessions, and some of them I did one-off, just to start my practice. I believe in your philosophy of the package. And so all my new clients are on some level of package at this point. So I'm pretty busy. I would say I don't do more than 4 coaching sessions a day, but now I know where the bulk of my clients come from. I have a very high referral business. LinkedIn and Facebook Live. I got a client from a Facebook Live or a referral. So when I got that, I called Jeff. I'm like, you are so right. And then LinkedIn has been really, really strong for me. I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn. So I know what my best lead sources are. And I keep on going up in my rates, not because I'm charging more, but when you come out, you don't really know what to charge. It's the most frequently asked question when we went to coaching school is, how much do you charge? And it's anywhere from, a corporate coach can get anywhere from a couple $100 to $1,000 an hour. So when I get more comfortable, you've been really great about saying you can go up in your rates a little bit now, So, I mean, my first full year, I consider this my first full year of coaching. I'll do over 30,000, possibly a little bit more from my first year. I think you and I extrapolated that out because I am doing a couple of programs. And compared to my corporate career, that's nothing, but, and it's something, but I'm not comparing those numbers. Like I knew that this would be a couple years and I'm just going to continue to build on the success of
Yes.
that.
And when you think about it, right, like we look the numbers, and I know when you said it to me, you're like, oh, I think that's it. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's fantastic. Like in your first year, you're averaging over $2,500 a month, right? And like you said, is that paying for the mortgage and paying for the blah, blah, blah? No, it's not. But I would bet anything that any coach out there who's doing something in their first year, if they could finish the year earning $2,500 a month, that would be phenomenal for them. And that's in a very, I'd probably say that's in like a top 10% of what coaches even earn in general, because most coaches don't earn anything. So and it's not like, oh, that's where we're stopping, right? This is only building, because next year, where are we going to go with a year after that? And that's what I love is it's the sustainability aspect of it. And
Yeah.
your income's more consistent than like, oh, I got a client, and then I don't have a client for 2 months. And then, oh, I get another client. It's like you're getting consistent referrals and consistent income.
I am. And, like, sometimes your clients peel off. It's the nature of the business. You don't want your clients to stay with you forever as much as you've built a relationship with them. But the goal is to nurture, grow, see them transform, and then they move off. And it's hard. It's a hard part of the business because you constantly have to be selling. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about your website. I want to pull it up here, but just tell them a little bit about what you
Okay.
do and just a little
So
bit
I
about
am a
your business.
corporate coach. And so, even though that's my niche, really I've identified my niche as corporate career women from 22 to 60 to make sure that you have the confidence to have the career that you want. I did a lot of things right in my corporate career. I ended up to be a SVP of a global ad agency, one of the top females at the company. If I had had a coach earlier on, I think I would have done things a little bit differently. I have some workaholic tendencies. I have some perfectionist tendencies. I think you see that when you work with me as a client. And I'm working hard to live more in the moment. So that's my core client. So female is early career, velocity is later career. I have male clients. I have some life coaching clients, but predominantly I'm a corporate coach helping women gain confidence. And I feel like I'm good at that because I've been there. I've been in a lot of women's shoes, and there's probably not a lot that I haven't experienced: firing, hiring, P&Ls, mergers and acquisitions, global. And I love to help women just step into their best self is really what I would say.
Yeah. And your website, dstarconsultants.com, we put that up there so people can check that out.
Yeah.
I think one of the greatest things about you, Donna, is those tendencies you said. What did you say? You had like perfectionist tendencies, but workaholic
A little bit of a
tendencies.
workaholic.
Yeah. But those pieces of you, like that's what makes you driven to do what you're doing now. And you're relentless, and more people need those qualities, and using them in a I kind of hate the word, but also don't, like the balance between that and, like you said, with just living your life is an important piece. But when you play really freaking hard.
Yeah, I do.
And that's what I love about you is when you play all out.
Right. And I love coaching probably more than anything I've ever done in my career. And I don't think you have to wait as long as I did to become a coach, or whatever it is that you want to do. But I'm so happy to be here today. This is the happiest I've ever been in my